your horror movie podcast.
Oh shit!
We need to hear that, dude.
I feel like a lot of times I haven't heard that though. I feel like a lot of times.
That's because usually when I click recording, you're going like spastic, and I'm like, I need to catch this.
I was also gonna say, I bet you a lot of times I was like doing my own thing. You're right, because a lot of times like I never consent, and then you catch me doing what? Well, okay, stuttering.
What? I'm sorry. Check it out.
Just like just now, we just caught just Justin.
Yeah, dude, you guys pushed us back an hour, so I mean, I've already had time to fucking drink my caffeine. I already fucking worked out. I never work on a podcast.
So it's actually so 11's better then.
Dude, I got fucking dialed. Yeah, no, it's still not better. But I just did all my shit. I just changed it around. I mean, I already got the pump on. I don't even need to do my workout during the fucking thing. I am ready to go right now. Exactly. I don't need to do my fucking desk curls.
Waterboy's got his pants on. Let's fucking go, dude. We're about to kill this. I'm still killing spiders.
Oh, yeah, Give me 2 seconds. I'm super sorry. When I just was pretending to work out, I just spilled my drink everywhere. I am such an idiot. Hold on.
It's okay.
Dude.
You're not you when you're
making
hungry.
the podcast. Welcome back, Hack Stab Slash. I'm Hacky. This is Stabby. This guy over here spilling drinks. Boom, 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 playing the air drums or whatever the fuck he's doing. That's just Justin.
Yeah,
and this week, Justin. We picked a 1980s movie, if I had ever seen one, and it's also starring one of the most iconic characters or just actors of the 80s in this type of genre. And I can't wait to dive into this. It's called Night of the Creeps. And when Justin gets back, I'll ask him why he picked this.
Oh, I've never seen this movie, but
I've never seen it before.
I can't believe I never did. I cannot believe I never
saw
this.
This is one of those things that like everyone was like, oh, you like horror movies, you need to see it. And I was like, all right, yeah. And I just always put it on the back burner and I constantly forgot about it. And then like a lot of movies, when we started this podcast, I was just like, I will not watch it until we cover it on the podcast.
Yep.
So Justin, now that I've covered the full introduction and you've mopped up your mess, you want to tell us why we're doing Night of the Creeps this night?
All right, Night of the Creeps. I picked this because it's in the 80s, right in my wheelhouse. Awesome slasher vibes, but also has some awesome retro vibes of the 50s, which I don't know about you guys, but I love watching some of those old ridiculous movies from like
that was 50s. Awesome.
Love it.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you guys like that enough, but I actually love that too. So an 80s movie that also has 50 retro vibes, absolutely sign me up. Have you guys seen this one before?
No, we were just talking about that while you were cleaning up your drink, that neither one of us had seen it. And it's always been one of those movies that's been on the back burner. Yeah. And other fellow horror fans have always been like, you need to watch this. And we both were just like shutting out the noise. And we were like, we haven't seen it yet. We started this podcast a little over 2 years ago or a year and a half. Yep. And we're not touching this until we do it on the podcast.
Oh, no shit. Yeah. I'm very excited then.
So my expectation rating going into this based off Justin's excitement and literally everyone around me's excitement about this movie, it was going to be a solid 7.
Me, I was thinking about an 8 for this movie just because with the retro vibes and things that I've heard about it.
I don't know if I can give mine because I saw this a million years ago and then I rewatched it probably like 4 years ago. So I think this is like my third watch. So I already knew all about it and everything. So
give us your general feeling of going into this rewatch.
Pretty excited to rewatch this, especially after Night of the Comet. I know those movies don't have anything. Well, they both have like the 50s retro vibes and they both have Night of the. But Night of the Comet, I feel like the pacing issues were at the end of the movie and that kind of ruined it. And this one, I think the end is absolutely bonkers. It might have a little bit of pacing in the middle of the movie of this one, but I feel like
I got some fun facts about that.
I was going to say that I feel like the end of it and the beginning, so incredible. A little bit of pacing issues, but overall, I think it makes up for it for a wild ride at the end.
All right, you guys ready to dive into Night of the Creeps, dude? I cannot wait to do this.
Let's fly into it, dude.
We open to a bunch of Stewie hairless chodes with space blasters running all over a spaceship. They send the experiment out into orbit, crashing into Earth. Tell me these things did not look like Stewie from Family Guy with zero hair.
They got no clothes on, dude. You just see little alien cheeks running around the fucking ship.
What a sight.
Absolutely insane. We switched to what Justin was talking about. We switched to a black and white set to give us a very 1959 tone with Johnny now on Sorority Row outside of Pam's window tossing rocks to get her attention. They now take a car ride up to what I think is called Lover's Point. They just refer to it as the point, where all the hip kids go and they park their cars and they make out all night to just beautiful sounds of music under the midnight sky. It's transcending. Officer Cameron shows up and he looks absolutely heartbroken, as we find out earlier in the movie that he was dating Pam. He tells them just to pack it up and go home. There's an escapee from the insane asylum on the loose, and everyone needs to go home. It's for their own safety. On the way home, Johnny pulls over his sweet drop top to investigate where the meteor crashed in the woods like an absolute fucking moron. Not only is this an incredibly bad idea, but now you're leaving Pam completely defenseless with the roof down. Even if this chick locked the doors, what's that going to do?
Nothing.
Have they not seen Slither?
Have they not seen anything? Anything ever?
Ever? Ever? Have they not seen
like
anything?
Ever? Johnny finds a canister in the ground and gets attacked by one of these slug-like things. Pam freaks out when she hears the radio telling her that this escapee is heading west on Route 66. She turns on the headlights just to see a sign that says Route 66 West. She starts to call out for Johnny, but not before an axe-wielding maniac sneaks up from behind her and gives her a beautiful haircut. It's Pledge Week now in 1986, and what a time to be alive. I, honest to God, wish I grew up in the 80s.
Oh, looks so much
JC and Chris make their way into the parties that are going on as Chris spots an absolute babe in the distance. He's fully in love now. So JC, being a good friend, he starts screaming from across the courtyard to get her attention. Hey, Toots! You! Turn around! Hey! What's your name?
Hey, you with the shirt?
He then goes over to tell this singularly eyebrowed jock that he's got a phone call inside the house, and he thanks him and he leaves. JC's a solid friend, and he starts trying to lay the groundwork for a petrified Chris until the jock comes back, and he sends JC packing. The boys want to join a fraternity now to try to impress Cindy. They decide to pledge for a place called the Betas, and that's very beta of them because we all know if you want to be a real man, you need to join the alphas.
You'd be alpha. Let's go.
They propose an act of devotion, and Chris, much like every Chris I know, aka Waterboy, throws out this act of devotion as, we don't have to have sex with farm animals, do we? They say no, absolutely not. But they do give them a daunting task to complete. We don't know what it is just yet. We do see a scientist now making his way to a sealed door that not only requires a key card, but also a passcode for entry. He swipes the key card and he enters all the numbers but one. And in a panic, he goes and he finds a payphone and he calls his roommate and asks him to open his notebook to read him the passcode because he clearly forgot it. JC, this gives enough time for JC and Chris to sneak in. JC just slaps a button, and now this fucking door is just wide open, and the boys head into the lab, and they are face to face with a frozen body. They realize that this isn't just any corpse. This corpse is in stasis. He has been cryogenically frozen and put in suspended animation. We as an audience now realize that this is Johnny from the 1959 incident earlier in the movie.
That's a corpse.
They release Johnny, and they start trying to carry him out. They panic, though, as the corpse grabs JC's arm, and the boys take off screaming. The scientist has no idea what's going on. He's baffled. He goes to look and see what's going on, and he gets attacked by a slug, much like Johnny did. The boys make it back to the fraternity in a straight panic, and they start fighting. And Chris says, what are we going to do? And JC goes, well, see, we're going to sit down, and we're going to get an Uzi, and we're going to kill them all. And they start fighting, and Chris is like, you think everything's a joke? And much like fucking Justin does to Waterboy, dude, he unloads on him and calls him on everything. He's like, you're a giant piece of shit.
Don't say unloads.
You're a giant piece of shit. I do all this to make you happy. I love you, bro. Like, and then they end it with a fuck you. And he goes, yeah, you wish. And he goes, no, fuck you. And he goes, you want to fuck me? Like, it gets really gay, really bad. But it's like a playful gay. It's a playful
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
I love it.
Oh my God.
And then they end the scene with a casual pillow fight, much like brothers do.
It happens.
The pillow fights, right? Not the fucking.
Yeah. The pillow fights.
Oh God. Oh my God. And just like everything that makes zero sense, we now meet an aggressively aged Officer Cameron from the beginning of the movie, who was once a teenager dating a teenager in that period of time. And now looks like a man ready to collect AARP. He is sitting on a beach, clearly in retirement, right? That's what I thought. Yeah. Drinking a tropical beverage as he sees dead Pam start standing up in the ocean, and there's not a drop of water on her. He sits up, and as he sits up, he becomes a cop. And he goes back to 1959 to where he's trying to catch the axe-wielding maniac. And as this guy is hacking away at Pam and he reaches out, he wakes up again, and it was all a dream. Is this an 80s reoccurring thing, Justin? You were the 80s specialist. Is there often a dream within a dream within a dream that turns out to all just be a dream?
Yes, quite often. A lot.
All right.
It was all a dream.
He got called now to go to the cryogenics lab, where he's full of angry jokes. This man wakes up and I think he calls himself Bullwinkle. And then when he gets there, he says like Roger the Rabbit. And then he aggressively drops all these cliches, and it is just one after the. It's like this man only talks in cliches.
I love it.
What am I, Mickey Mouse?
I love it so much.
And then he even goes, "There's supposed to be two bodies here. I only see one. What is this? Just a bad B movie?"
Yes.
Like, it's so good.
Yes.
He rips this fucking sergeant apart, and the sergeant chalks it up to, well, I let two rookies handle this case like a moron, and they decided to go to the bathroom together. Yeah, it was a little strange. Like, you got dead bodies here, and you're both just going to leave the scene and go to the bathroom together. I wonder what's going on in there.
Who's going to hold it, dude?
Yeah. And now we get the Bradster drops off Cindy because they've got some serious pledge humiliation to do. This guy is a fucking tool bag.
Dude, I fucking hate this guy. Oh
and
my God.
Cindy now goes inside to head upstairs to get some rest before being asked by a fellow pledge sister if she can store some things in the house. And she goes, well, what are they? And she goes, oh, they're just brains. We're going to be dissecting them later. And she goes, all right, why don't you go put them in the basement next to Waterboy's turn?
All right. So Cynthia then begins to head upstairs to get some alone time, and we see shots of the body walking across the lawn. We pan over to a study girl hearing some noises at the door, and it turns out it's just Gordon the black cat. Switch over to Cynthia. We get some titties, Justin, Sean. But here's something outside. You're welcome.
Is that like one titty for each of us? Is that why you said both our names?
I'll let you guys fight over left or right. But here's something outside her window. Jump scare with the corpse giving her a rose.
Yeah, he doesn't want brains. He just wants to be sweet.
Come on, just love me.
He gives her a flower.
Yeah, corpses can be nice too.
Honestly. And his head opens up, releasing slugs. Ray's at the scene now, Cameron, where it's the body they were looking for with the head split open.
Don't you leave out the fact that this man takes the time to smell the roses?
He does.
I thought that it was always so out of place, but after you see this movie, you realize there is a lot of themes of just take your time, stop, and smell the roses. This corpse gives off a rose. Now we get the officer stops to smell the rose.
Appreciate the little things. Life lesson right in there.
Let's go. Horror movies are very educational.
It is.
Do it.
Cameron starts to have visions from when he was a rookie cop and what took place earlier in the movie, but luckily, Detective Landis breaks him from his past. Next day, JC and Chris get stopped by Brad and his groupies about what happened and them not being too happy about it. And then Brad kicks JC's crutches like the dick he is, with Cynthia siding with them and giving him the nice little bird.
That was classic. That woo! She rolls it up.
Yeah. Now they get pulled in by Detective Landis for questioning. Janitor saw them running out of the lab 40 miles an hour, screaming,
like a banshee.
Like a banshee.
At 40 miles an hour, don't you forget.
Yep.
Yeah. Like a banshees. To the morgue with the body coming back to life on the table, just casually walking by a cop. And then he takes out the janitor. We see some slugs headed towards the girls' sorority house. And Brad tries his lame excuse of apology and just comes off as an asshole per usual.
That was not even close to an apology, dude. He ends that. He gets 2 sentences into that conversation and throws out, I guess that's what I get for dating a fucking psych major.
That guy is just
red flag after red flag after red flag.
We get to see Gordon the cat clawing at the door again, but this time the cat is dead and all messed up. Detectives discover the body from the morgue and the slugs just scurrying away. And how has nobody noticed these big ass slugs just crawling away from all these bodies yet?
I thought you were going to talk about how that cat clearly came from the pet cemetery down the street.
Oh, yeah, it's
terrifying.
Chris gets a visit from Cynthia coming to talk to them about what she saw with its head exploding and saying she thinks it's a zombie, with them not really believing her. JC gives them some space so Chris and her can have some alone time, and he walks her home. JC, now in the bathroom, we hear some gross noises and the slugs being released out of the head of the janitor in the bathroom. He manages to set one on fire, but one of them scurries up his leg, and then on the floor, one heads towards his mouth before it cuts out.
I got a question about this. So it appears that these slugs are to be taken orally at least once a day. How does JC's poor ass get the only suppository in this film?
That is
right?
True.
Poor guy.
That's messed up.
This guy's got the rough life, dude. He's got the best personality in this movie,
right? But it
turns out he's clearly got something going on with his legs because he needs the crutches to help him walk around. And like this dude doesn't even have time to wipe his ass before he pulls up his pants in a panic. And then he's gonna stick a slug. I mean, it only goes up his leg, it only goes up his pants leg, but we know what hole it's going towards.
But maybe he was okay with it because he did, have a little bit going towards Chris there. So,
dear God.
All right,
moving on.
I'm moving on.
Have you ever seen like a moose god?
What?
Or like an elk god?
God?
Yeah, you said dear God. I was wondering if you've ever seen like a moose or an elk.
Oh God.
Sorry. My dad joke just came out of me.
What just happened in the last minute?
When you said that, I instantly thought of the movie The Ritual, though. If you've ever seen that movie with that weird deer god.
Yeah, that was a deer god thing, wasn't it?
It was.
God, the thing looked dumb.
That like...
I love that movie. All right,
anyway. We are so off track.
I was gonna say, what just happened?
But it's good.
Sterile, and I like the taste. That's what the slug said.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a slug.
Oh my dear God! No, stop! Don't say that. Let's get back. Cut all that out. Back to normal shit. Likeable. Let's go.
All right,
where are we?
Chris successfully walked her home and then gets pulled by Ray. And Ray begins explaining a story about his high school sweetheart and what had happened all those years ago, with him finding pieces of her everywhere in the woods, and how he took it into his own hands and found him and shot him in the chest with a shotgun, and then buried him under the girls' sorority house. As this is happening, the floor is coming up, where we see the same man he buried axing the house mother. Let's take this call and grab Shoddy and head out to Justin to finish this invasion off.
All right, let's do this. I'm going to take a deep breath because it gets kind of exciting. So I'm going to try not to talk too fast. I'm going to try to go nice and slow. What do you
Justin
got?
Goes straight.
I absolutely love that axe scene, though. Like where you guys transition from part to part.
Dude, beautiful.
Him coming through the floor.
My God.
So well done.
Good.
Wait, is it in the picture behind me? Oh, you can't see it. Oh, hold on. You can catch it in space.
So good.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so there you go. So as Waterboy says, the phone call comes in, and it is go time for the rest of the movie. Cameron grabs a slap shot. He grabs a shot. He grabs a shotgun. He flies over there. He gets there, and we see that the woman is hacked to pieces. All the cops are out searching. We see them. They radio back, say, yo, we got him. As we see the Axeman, actually, he takes a swipe at one of the freaking cruisers. But so all the cops there, now they get him. They get this guy surrounded. We see Cameron already say, I already killed you once. They all stop blasting. This dude has taken so many different rounds. And eventually Cameron blasts this zombie's heads off. But as the head goes flying off, we get the alien slugs just disperse and go everywhere.
The effects on this axe-wielding maniac are awesome. Amazing.
Dude,
it's like teared up with like Night of the Living Dead shit.
Dude, this last 30 minutes, the effects and stuff and how everyone ends up looking, I like
this is why everyone in the horror community fucking hates CGI. Stay with practical. Every one of these kills, every one of these explosions, amazing.
So good.
And I gotta say, you see it smiles at him before they shoot his head off.
It's
like he knew who he was.
Yeah, he literally smirked, like the zombie face smirk. we get some awesome badass scenes of we see the girls and the guys are all getting ready in their own way for we got music going, they're all getting ready for the big dance, and we see that JC is missing. We see slugs, like Waterboy said, how have no one ever seen these things yet? These slugs are going everywhere, absolutely everywhere. We see Chris is getting ready and he finds one of those old school like voice recorders and he plays it, and it's JC, and he is telling him, it's very somber tone, he's like, hey man, I got one inside me, it's in my brain. I don't even have a pulse anymore. Like, it can be killed with fire. Like, heat and fire kills it. He says his goodbyes. He says he's going into the boiler room to take care of business. Chris, awesome, loyal friend.
Yeah, the only good thing you can take away from JC's death, and JC even tells him, he goes, I can walk. Like, I walked.
Yeah.
Like, he was astounded that this thing took over his body, but it gave him the ability to walk.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I mean, JC seriously saves this movie. Like the fact he just literally told him all the stuff on how to do. Chris runs there and he actually sees him and he sees his dead body there and he sees like the stuff like burnt. And now all of a sudden we see that that douche Brad, how he was blown off by Cynthia, and a slug goes into him. Oh, actually, we see a slug go by him and then he looks and there's like a zombie dog and it shoots one.
It like Nerf guns into his mouth.
It is ridiculous. It literally is like shoots it into.
It was the classic glizzy switch.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Chris at this point, Chris goes and finds Cameron. He tells him everything what's going on. He tells him how it works, what's going on. Like, it's time for like some hero action right here. We see the bus that is bringing all the guys to the girls. They're partying. They're having an awesome time. But we see the zombie dog, and the bus swerves to not kill the zombie dog, and we see it crash, and it quickly cuts away to Cameron.
Justin, did this bus driver, when they crashed, did his eyes pop out of his fucking head in terror?
And I'm pretty
sure that's what happened. It looked like they like popped out of his head, like they.
Yeah. We're gonna cut back to that in 1 second because we're gonna go right back to that. But yeah, so Cameron, we see a quick cut scene where Cameron goes to the police station and he asks for the flamethrower, and the guy's fine with giving him one until he finds out he doesn't have the proper paperwork. But he doesn't care if he doesn't have the proper paperwork because he's
got a shotgun.
He's got a shotgun, and he threatens him with a shotgun to get it. And we go right back to the bus crash where I'm pretty sure the guy's eyes did pop up. You see the zombie dog lurking around. There's blood everywhere. You can tell like it didn't go too good. And at the same time, we see zombie Brad arriving at the sorority house. Cut back to the bus, and we see zombies emerging. All the guys now are the alien slug-infected parasites in their brain emerging. They are all starting to walk towards the sorority house. And we see Cynthia talking to zombie Brad now. She grabs him by the hand, like, and starts. And this dude, if you see him, he's completely zombie face, but she's like looking down at the ground, so she doesn't even realize. Like, she literally sits next to him and is like venting and like having a heart to heart, and the dude's a zombie right next to her. And all of a sudden you hear, "Get away!" And Cameron blasts his heads off, and Chris comes to the scene. He has a flamethrower.
Lights him the fuck on fire.
Dude, the fact that he blows, they shoot the guy's head, it explodes, and then he flamethrows it right away. And then he even says, "Don't take it personal." Like, let's fucking go.
Back to the beginning of the movie when he tripped JC and was like, "Don't take it personal." Dweebs.
Exactly. Right back to him. And he literally throws a shotgun to Cynthia. And it is just go time. At this point, we see Cameron run inside, and all the girls screaming, freaking out and everything. He's looking out the window, and he literally says, "We got good news, girls. Your dates are here. The bad news, they're dead.
They're all dead." I love that line so much,
dude.
He drops 2 lines in this scene in the next set.
Yes,
that I absolutely love.
Dude, I literally wrote one line is galore right here. Just absolutely awesome. We have Cynthia and Chris now. They traded, like, Chris has got the flamethrower and she's got the shotgun. She is blasting body after body, and the effects of all these, never mind just like the makeup effects of how they look, the special effects of their heads blowing up. They're blowing up brains. They're firing them one after another. Cameron is in the house, and he is just shooting out everywhere. And at one point, to blow the thing up, he shoots him, but then he grabs an aerosol bottle with his cigarette and flame throws it's the friggin' face. And I'm pretty sure he says, "What? It's Miller time."
Yeah, like, that's the right here because he's always got a Miller Lite.
He's always got a Miller.
It's Miller time. I was like, yes,
dude. He's spinning her. the dude's spinning around in circles, just blasting so many people, losing his mind. Meanwhile, out back, we got Chris and Cynthia. Now, I mean, these people are just coming from everywhere. They're doing a good job, but it's getting overwhelming. So they hide in like a little shed. Now we got Night of the Living Dead action going on. These things are bursting through the shed, and there's a lawnmower in the shed. So after doing a good job shooting him, he literally starts a lawnmower as Cynthia is outside, like on top of the thing, battling it, and he yells at him, "Move!" And he lawnmows this freaking thing's face. Such a good thing.
That reminded me of Dead Alive.
Do you think this is where I was gonna say? You think this is where Dead Alive got that lawnmower kill scene?
Right, we got a lawnmower kill scene.
So good.
And dude, did you hear his one-liner? All he literally said was "later, dude," and out of all the badass things, "later, dude." And
later, dude. If you realized every time that Chris drops a one-liner, yeah, it's a one-liner from one of these fucking, like, I call them bully fraternity boys that had said to them.
Said to him earlier, he like recycled.
Don't take it personal, later, dude.
Exactly. So at this point now, they see all these worms all going down to the basement. They're flying down there like, oh my God, to the basement. So they run in. Everyone, get out of the house. Get out of the house. And they run down there. And actually, Cameron is already down there. And he is dousing this whole entire place. And he is counting
He's even got duct tape over his mouth so they can't get into him.
He duct taped his mouth so they won't get in there. And he
only knew about JC. What happened to him earlier?
He takes it off and he is counting down, and they're basically telling them, like, he's just like, go, just go. So we see them running out for their life. And as they get outside, we have a giant explosion. This thing goes up in flames. So epic. We got Cynthia and Chris have the incredible kiss. We see a zombie burnt Cameron walking out and
smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, smoking a cigarette still. As he falls, his head like cracks open, and we see three aliens.
4 more slugs. Yeah, I think 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4 alien slugs burst out, and they head towards the cemetery. And right before this movie ends, we see a spotlight in the graveyard, like looking for the slugs, and we see it's coming from the alien spaceship that dropped the stuff off.
At the big ass fucking ship.
Game over. Let's have some thoughts, guys.
Fucking love it, boys. Justin, real
man.
Quick.
Yeah.
When Chris gets out of the house, did you hear his one-liner?
What was it again?
When Detective Cameron is interviewing the boys in that room about like screaming like banshees.
Yeah.
I think it's in that scene, or it could be another scene. But he is asking Chris for a story of what's going on, and he literally says, "Thrill me." And when Chris goes outside and he counts down to 0, he goes, "Thrill me."
Thrill me. Yeah, thrill me to tell.
It's like that's like I mean, you know what's gonna happen, but that's almost like his little giveaway of like, this is gonna be a kill scene. Or this is gonna be a death scene. But Waterboy, I'll let you take it away first.
Hell yeah.
I can talk for hours about this movie.
Dude, this movie was amazing. Like, I'm so happy that I actually saved watching it for this podcast and not seeing it. I loved everything about this. Like I said in many of these podcasts, practical effects is where it's at. Doesn't matter if it's 2024, wherever. Keep practical. I know it might be a little bit more expensive, but everybody's going to love you for it. This movie was perfect. Like the cast that they used for it, perfect. Some cheesy dialogue here and there, still perfect. It is the perfect 80s movie, and I'm so glad to have seen this. I'm going to keep my same score. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And I would watch it. I would watch it again every single time it came on. This is just a perfect little fun 80s movie.
Hell yeah. But damn, let's go.
Hell yeah.
So this movie I had never seen before, Justin. And I am so glad you picked it. Because this opens, and I'm not a big creature feature guy, but I love when they're different. Yeah. And with those little aliens, dude, I was instantly roped in. Now, the opening credits, when it says Night of the Creeps, that took a little while to get through. And understandably, all the movies are like that. Yeah. That should like kind of takes me out of it. Because we're bred with this credits roll while the movie's going.
Right.
So I was like moderately checked out there. But the second I seen these dudes running around the spaceship, fully engaged. Loved it. Another thing I abso-fucking-lutely love is when a movie takes you to a certain time period and it switches up the film. It's not horror related, but did you guys ever see the movie Pleasant Valley or Pleasantville?
Can't remember.
It's all black and white in the 50s, and everyone's very proper and all this other stuff. And as they start exploring, color gets introduced into the movie. That movie roped me in with the black and white to color transition. Just like this movie did. I remember it now. And you get the very 50s cars. I fucking love that feeling. The way everyone's dressed, the way everyone's acting. I love that feeling. Dude, even the broadcaster over the radio, I love that shit. The special effects, knock it out of the park. I have always been a huge proponent of, I love horror movies set in the 80s, made in the 80s, like all that stuff. And dude, I honest to God, can't say enough good things about this movie. The one-liners, the effects, the settings, just everything around it. Dude, I'm gonna give this a 9.1. I shit you not, dude. I'm reaching for my phone right now. You see my arm moving, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm watching it while we're doing the podcast.
Let's go.
Oh my God, dude.
Hell yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess I won't talk too long about what I said because I mean, I obviously picked it, so I kind of obviously love it. And you guys said kind of a lot of shit that I loved about it. I obviously love 80s horror is like my favorite thing in the whole entire world. And I love like creature feature stuff. So the fact that this has 80s slasher vibes, but at the same time it has the retro 50s vibes. Like that first 10 minutes of the movie, I mean, kind of just repeat what Sean said, was so awesome. Even just at the 50s, like the song that was playing. I can't think of it now, but like,
like, dude, everything was that. Justin, just real quick, I don't mean to cut you up. That song broke me in so fucking hard. Like, when we watched, what is it, Curse of Michael Myers?
Yeah,
everyone like trashes on that movie back in '95.
Yeah,
I get it, whatever. But when they start playing Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream, like that ropes me in. I love when they use those fucking classic.
Yeah,
so like songs in these movies, dude. I love it so much. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Same with Back to the Future when they use all those old songs.
Yeah, crush the atmospheric vibes of the 50s and then switching right to 1986. So awesome. Love the special effects. And dude, Tom Atkins in this movie, like, are you kidding me? So awesome. Just absolutely love it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I gave this movie a 8.1 out of 10. Love it. It's definitely in my top 21 horror movies of the 80s. And that's
fuck yes.
Before we started this podcast, I really didn't know like much about Tom. I only knew him from Season of the Witch.
Yep.
And the more and more we start diving into these 80s horror movies, the more and more I've realized that growing up, I did watch 80s horror just like you, Justin.
Yeah.
But it was the main, like, I guess you could consider it mainstream iconic 80s horror, like the Freddys, the Jasons, the Michaels.
Yep.
Shit like that, dude. I am so glad we are diving into, Night of the Comet, Night of the Creeps, the stuff, the Burning. Like, I realize they all have their own issues. But dude, these issues are what makes the new stuff so fucking good. Is these movies walk so like the newer movies could run, but these movies, the newer movies we have now, would not have a fucking chance if these movies didn't take these risks. And like, dude, Night of the Creeps is just so fucking good.
Dude, look at Slither. Remember how many people like Slither? Do you think we'd literally have a? Do you think we'd have a Slither?
We would not.
You would not have a Slither without this.
100%.
No fucking way.
That was literally one of my fun facts. I guess I'll just burn right now that obviously, I mean, it's not really a shock that Slither literally said this was very heavily influenced by this movie. So we'll just burn that right away just because no shit, obviously, if anyone's seen it.
Oh my gosh.
Anyone got you got some fun facts? Or anything?
I got some fun facts. So the script for this movie was written in just a week.
A week. Crazy.
1 week.
That goes to show you, dude, if you put your mind to something and determination, you can bang it out.
Exactly.
So, coming from someone who's trying to learn how to write scripts and write his own scripts, much me and Justin too.
Yep.
Bro, he wrote this masterpiece in a fucking week.
He was not a slug with it, dude.
Oh, that was good.
So the spaceship model that they used in this movie was actually used in an episode of Star Trek in 1993. Another little thing for some Trekkie fans out there. And in 2023, last year, James Wan announced that he wanted to remake this film, which I don't know how.
I'd be okay with the James Wan remake,
but James Wan might be able to do it justice. And I know, Justin, you're not big on.
He's probably one of those very few directors that I think could come
give a shot.
Could come close to what this movie gave us.
Yeah, just don't.
I mean,
just don't.
I mean, especially with what he did with *Malignant*. I don't know if you guys. Yeah.
I have not seen that. That's another thing that I refuse to watch until we cover it on the pod.
That's
yeah.
I've seen it.
Throw it on the wheel.
Throw it on the wheel. But I'll also have a budget for this too, which was $5 million, but it only grossed 591,000 across 70 theaters.
Did people back then just not know what kind of fucking cinema gold this was?
I was gonna say that's honestly so bad. Holy crap, that bombed. That's awful. Yeah. Yikes.
Dude, but right movie, wrong time.
It's good now.
Sean, you got anything? You done, Waterboy?
Yeah, that's all I got.
What do you got, Sean? You got anything?
I got Gordon the Cat was named after the film producer Gordon Carroll. The tool shed sequence was filmed after principal shooting of the movie had wrapped. After a rough cut was shown to a test audience, several people thought that the picture needed more action. So this particular sequence was added to the movie. Fred Decker took the reshoot opportunity to add the scene of the zombie feet going up the fire escape, some minor beats in the living room, and Cameron grabbing the slug midair, which is absolutely badass.
Hell yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, well, dude, my favorite one, which I actually noticed right away without even like reading anything, was, do you see that the last name of every single main character in this whole entire movie was named after horror and sci-fi directors? Yeah. Did you guys know that?
Wow.
Like right away, they said I noticed it right away. They said it was Cynthia Cronenberg. Like, you don't name someone Cronenberg if that's not up to the director. One of the sergeant's cops was Sergeant Raimi after Sam Raimi.
Yep, after Sam Raimi.
Yeah, another one's last name was literally Carpenter. Like, obviously, after John Carpenter. And it goes on. There was like 7 or 8 of them. Like, it was just one after another. So
do you want another real quick fun fact about horror icons? Mm-hmm. Greg Nicotero and Howard Berger play zombie extras.
And, well, guess what? Halloween tie-in. I brought it back just for this episode. Obviously, we have one of the last names was Carpenter for John Carpenter, but Greg Nicotero, who did the special makeup effects for Halloween 5, as Sean just said, was a extra. And obviously, the slam dunk, obviously, no shit, Tom Atkins was actually in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So we got not 1, not 2, but 3 Halloween tie-ins for this movie.
Yeah.
So Tom Atkins, when he does that scene where he's like, what is this, just a B movie? Fred Decker, one of the fun facts I have is Fred Decker included every B movie cliche he could possibly think of and insisted on directing this script himself.
Yep.
So awesome.
And I got one. Can we talk about Fred Decker right now? That quick little run that he had right there. Like, so he directed this movie. Do you know he directed the Monster Squad too? Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the Monster Squad. He directed that. Do you remember that ridiculous movie House?
Yeah, dude, I love House movie. And House too.
I love those movies, dude.
Yeah, so he didn't direct House, but he wrote House. So never mind this dude did the Monster Squad, he wrote House, and the TV show, I don't know if it was in the early 90s with Tales of the Crypt. This dude wrote 5 episodes of Tales of the Crypt. Like, this dude who made this movie, dude, yeah, he directed a few, but he also wrote a ton of badass horror. Love it.
Damn.
Real quick, Justin. I know you love this, so I'm not. I know you know already what I'm talking about. So, Waterboy, try to play along. At the beginning of the movie, at the sorority house, Pam's roommate is talking on the phone with a friend and asks her if she's ever seen Plan 9 from Outer Space. This movie was released in 1957. Movie director and written by Edward D. Wood Jr. That came out actually that year. Later on in this movie, in 1986, the house mother in the house mother's cottage is watching this same movie on TV when he breaks through the floor.
Freaking
awesome. I had that. That was I only have one fun fact, Brandon, and that was it. The movie inside a movie. I don't miss that shit.
Hell yeah. Dude, I got to say, we were just talking about those. I'm going to add House 1 and House 2 to the wheel along with another Atkins movie that I have not seen. Maniac Cop.
That's a wild one.
I've seen that.
My favorite fun fact in this whole movie, I don't know if I would call it a fun fact. Tom Atkins, for the amount of legendary shit that he has done in these movies, has openly said that this is his favorite movie he has ever been in.
Dude, he loves this movie.
Awesome. I can see why, dude. It looked like you could feel Tom Atkins' character having so much fun playing his role in this movie.
Oh, 100%. With those one-liners, you could just tell that this movie was such a fun movie.
But yeah, we did FO, folks.
All right, I'm Hacky. This dude over here is Stabby. This guy down here flexing his biceps, triceps, and pectoral muscles.
Let's go. Justin.
Justin.
Have the best week ever.
We out. Till next week.
Peace.